U.S., the floor protection market is $1.8 billion.
Wow.
In floor protection. And
Floor
in 10 years,
protection.
$3
Really?
billion.
Holy cow.
With a B. We'd install maybe $500,000 of windows and doors in a $20 million house.
Mm-hmm.
And good luck, guys. Don't scratch the glass. We'll be back in 2 years for a finish out. It was massively difficult because we had so many callbacks. Things are going to happen. So it's not it's not if it happens, it's when damage happens.
Mm-hmm.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of the In the House podcast. My name is Lonnie Armstrong, and we got Michael Stolley here. We have a great talk today. We're going to be talking about job site protections, and we got Dan Barrett here with Texas Job Site Solutions here in Austin, Texas. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about why are protections so critical in the construction phase. We're also going to talk about some non-negotiables when it comes to job site protections and some of the conversations that you should be having with your client ahead of time. And then what are some common mistakes that builders make with protections? So that's what we're going to do. Before we get into that, Michael, I see you have an interesting article you want to talk about.
Yes. Our headline for today. American Community Survey is done every year. It's federally done. Basically, it's kind of an arm of the census. And they came out with their 2024 data. And part of it was interesting. Wanted to get y'all's thoughts on it, but it's saying that most of the housing stock that we have, about half of it is built in the 1980s or older.
So most of the homes that you see that are built today, 50% of them were built in the 1980s or earlier.
Yep.
Wow.
And it breaks it down, and I thought this was interesting. It's got 13% in the 70s, 12% in the 80s, 13% in the 90s, 15% in the 2000s, and then from 2010, 2019, only 9%. So you think about, and this is specifically owner occupied. So this isn't like, some people will build to rent houses. So this is just single family, owner occupied housing.
So this doesn't count multifamily.
This isn't this is an apartment.
Because I feel like that's where a lot of construction is happening now.
Well, I think that's an interesting part of this and it's a reason why the remodel industry is getting so much bigger for residential. But you see, there was this dip from 15% to 9% for single family owner occupied housing.
Yeah.
From the 90s to the 2000s.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I thought that was super interesting.
It's because everything's gotten so gosh darn expensive.
Dadgummit. All these prices.
But I mean, Dan, feel free to weigh in. You probably have more knowledge on this, but with inflation, it's never coming back down, right? Everything's going to keep going up, and housing. It's the same thing with housing. Housing. It's continued to go up. I don't see it ever coming back down. I think there's been one time, and that was the 2008 housing bubble, where housing prices went down. Other than that, housing prices have gone up.
It's pretty crazy. So
I think with that, like I said, you're seeing a lot more construction in multifamily because it's too expensive to buy a house. People want to rent. It's less expensive.
Yep.
So there's, I think, more of a demand to build multifamily units, rentals, rather than new homes.
And the other part of that is remodel.
I was going to say, with the remodels, because it's so expensive to buy new, people want to stay in the house that they have longer.
Right.
I'm in that boat. We have a house and we want to remodel it. We don't want to sell and find a new house.
Right.
Because we got such a great interest rate.
Yeah.
If we sold, we would be screwed.
Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of people have that same sentiment.
It's super interesting.
It's wild.
Thinking about Austin, you see the sprawl, right? From Austin to Round Rock and beyond. But in the city, they're not making any more land in the city, right?
Right.
So
that's true.
You can't make more land.
So you got to put more dense houses.
It's the one thing you can't do. Yeah.
Exactly. Right? So
you got to go vertical.
Yep. Got to go up.
Yeah.
Got to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's really
Absolutely.
interesting. Another piece of this that I thought was interesting was there was a graph showing the average age of owners of houses and how it's risen over time.
Yeah.
And specifically in the last 10 years, I'll double check this, but I think in the past 10 years, the average age was about early to mid 30s, and it's risen now to early 40s. I think it goes 31 in like early 2000s, and now the average age is 42.
Makes sense.
In 2024 when this survey was done. I think that's really interesting too. It's kind of sad. I wish that houses that that trend was the reverse.
Yeah. That would be great.
Yeah.
We need to go back on the gold standard. That's what it all boils down to. We need to go back to the gold standard.
Oh my God!
Stop with
Heard it
this
here
whole
first.
riffraff with the fiat currency that we have now. It's like monopoly money. It's
Yeah.
just, my gosh. I don't want to go on a rant. That's a topic for another day, maybe. But Dan, I'm glad that you decided to come on and talk to us.
Yeah, thanks
appreciate
so
you
much.
coming on.
Thanks, Lonnie. Thanks, Michael. Really glad to be here.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
So, tell us a little bit about Texas Job Site Solutions. What was the idea, and how did it get started?
Yes, great way to start the conversation, right?
Yeah.
So I've been in the window and door industry for over 20 years, and I started out in the San Francisco Bay Area in 2001. So that's where I got in the industry, and I was really through 20 plus years of windows and doors, and I worked for some distributors locally in the Central Texas area, and I've worked for some large national manufacturers up in Canada, some out in Arizona. So I worked on both sides of the equation in the window and door world,
Cool.
the dealer side and the manufacturer side.
Yep.
So through all those adventures, I found where I wanted to work finally. And that's Austin Retrofit. It's here in Austin, Texas,
They're
obviously.
great.
And so I've been with them about 2.5 years. And Retrofit's really unique. And this is a long answer to your question, Lonnie, but it's going to make sense in a moment.
Yeah, it's great.
So Retrofit's unique in that it's a family-run business, 28 years, and they're really invest in an entire life cycle of the project where we'll consult on windows and doors. We will sell some product. We will install. We will waterproof. We'll service. We'll warranty it. So really a turnkey operation. In addition, we fabricate a product called Rayners out of Belgium. So we have a fabrication facility in Northeast Austin. So it's really a turnkey operation. And, from working on the national level, I worked with over 200 window dealers nationwide. And I really believe Austin Retrofit is one of one in the nation that does all that. It's a really unique operation, which is why I approached him and was like, hey, man, I want to come work for you. So that worked out well. Once I got in the door and was a part of it, I realized A to Z, we got it. Well, maybe A to Y. We're missing one element, and it's job site protection. So, we'd go out to these very high-end projects. We'd install maybe $500,000 of windows and doors in a $20 million house. And windows and doors is the first finished element that goes in the project.
100%.
Right?
That's true.
So we install, we say, good luck, guys. Don't scratch the glass. We'll be back in 2 years for a finish out.
Yeah.
And it was massively difficult because we had so many callbacks. We had a lot of issues. And so we were missing the job site protection element. So that was what I pitched to our ownership. And so they're like, go for it. So we started a sister company, Texas Job Site Solutions, dedicated solely to job site protection, starting with windows and doors. And it's spread out from there. But that's
branched out.
cool.
that's the quick story about how we came into being.
No, that's great.
From the builder, side, I know, when I'm looking at my protection budget, for a project, the windows and doors is the first spot that I think of. Where does that money need to go?
Yeah.
To your point, first finished product on site. It's there for a long time, and having glass, it's one of the most delicate,
Right.
items. So
Yeah.
it's really this kind of catch-22 is the way that the construction industry has evolved, and within the means and methods that windows and doors, particularly exterior doors, have to be installed early. Okay, how this kind of created this challenge. Well, it has such a delicate material with it, primarily glass, but also the frames. That's really compelling. I love that.
Yeah. It's starting to take off because, like you said, Michael, it's a problem we've all experienced.
Yeah.
That did not have a good solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is now. And so it's starting to gain some traction.
That's
so
wild.
glad I'm here. Talk some more.
Yeah,
That's true.
exactly,
It's you hear this all the time, but it's cheap insurance. And that is maybe one way to explain it to a client is, you see this protections budget and you're like, wow, do we really need this amount of money for protections? And, of course, hindsight being 2020, and we've all been there, The answer is yes, 100%, and probably even more, because it's never enough. It's never healthy enough. But yeah, I mean, we've all been there where you get to the end of the job and the windows are being cleaned and there's a gosh darn scratch like right in the middle of the glass, and you have two options. You can either polish it out, which sometimes that leaves waves and variations in the glass, or you replace the glass, which can be invasive,
Oh, yeah.
and you're here trying to finish a project, and now you got to replace windows, and it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cheap insurance on the front end to just go ahead and protect them with something that's bomb proof, that's not going to allow dust or sawdust or metal shavings or whatever to get between it and the glass and scratch it.
Right.
So yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about strategy. I mean, there's a lot of different windows and doors out there. What do you protect it with? How do you do it?
So, Michael, let me start with what's typically been done, right? One option is cross your fingers, right?
Yeah, 100%.
That's what we see a lot on job sites, right?
Yep.
The cross your fingers method. And if I was a builder, I'd have a lot of sleepless nights. Because I know what my glazing package cost me, and crossing fingers doesn't work well.
Yeah.
Some products that use cardinal glass, Anderson, Marvin, a lot of these really mass-produced window manufacturers use cardinal glass, and they have the preserved film on that from the factory. Mm-hmm. So what's unique about preserved film is in their documentation, you need to remove it after 6 months.
Right. Yeah.
That's 6 months, not from when it hit your job site. 6 months from when they put the film on at the Anderson factory.
That's very true.
So I believe that is a false sense of security for the builder and an absolute great security primarily for the glass manufacturer. So it's one-sided in my eye. Now, you get on job sites a year or two down the line, usually that preserved film is still on there because it's better than this method.
Right.
However, it should be taken off for a reason. If the supplier tells you to take it off, it's for a purpose, right? And a lot of the times you get in this Texas sun, it gets baked onto the glass.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when you try to pull it off, it doesn't come off. And so what do your cleaners do? They usually pull out their metal razor blade and just start going to town on it.
Oh, I will go nuts on somebody if I see a razor blade with the glass. Yeah.
It's disaster. Very costly. So that is what has been done in the past primarily. Now, there are some films that do have like 12-month rating on it. We choose not to go that route because, again, I'm pretty cautious. I've been in the glass industry for 20 years, and I don't want to put a film on glass in this Texas heat.
Yeah.
So we don't go that route. So we use a liquid applied product that is a spray-on or a roll-on finish. So in what this product does, I have a sample of it here, and after you put it on, it dries up after about 2 to 3 days, and when you take it off, it's like a giant fruit roll-up, like from when we were kids, right?
That is so cool.
There's the fruit roll-up feel. So that's the end result, but that's what this will do. You spray this or roll it on, it'll hold up to your stucco debris, rock debris, but also when you got your deck guy cutting his rebar and throwing slag against the glass, this even protects it from all that and welding sparks. So
interesting.
It's a very robust system, and it's an application you put outboard and inboard, preferably, right?
Yeah.
But that's the end result, how it feels tactilely.
Yeah.
And when you're done with it, you can just peel it off and throw it away.
I don't know. This is Scudo Glass Advanced is the product. There's another one out there, Window Coat.
Right.
I guess it's similar to this. I don't know how it really compares, but what I was going to say was I made a mistake with that in the sense that I applied it to glass, but I didn't apply it thick enough. Right. So there's a certain thickness you have to apply this, and I think people tend to not apply it thick enough,
right?
Because they're scared. You're kind of slopping it on there, and you're like, this can't be good, right? So I put it on really thin, but when you go to take it off, it just flakes off in little chunks. It doesn't peel off like this does.
You're right. That's a big challenge. It's supposed to go on 10 mils wet,
right?
So that's key. And the thicker, the better, really, because it's easier to take off. So we've been called out to jobs that we didn't apply, but they applied it too thin, and it's a bear, man.
It's so much more in labor just to get it off.
Yes. Yeah. So the tricks, there's a couple tricks to that. One is a spray bottle to rehydrate it, but really the best way is to use a steamer, and that rehydrates it, and you can pull it back off. But even then, you got a plastic blade, and then you get a steamer on it. So it's a bear to get off. Wow. It gives it maybe a negative name. Like, I couldn't get that stuff off, but like you said, Lonnie, it's how thick you put it on leads to easy removal.
Yeah, thicker the better.
Yeah, thicker the better. And one of the element when you roll it on, it's with a roller, and just by the process of rolling it, it thins it out along the way.
That's
So
true.
when you roll a paint in your house, you're looking for coverage and you're doing the W, and
Yeah.
but you do that with this and it makes it too thin.
Right.
So it's a whole different mentality as you roll it on.
That's true. Are there any layers of redundancy that you use? So you have a fluid applied protection, but is there anything else beyond that you do?
So it depends upon what we're trying to solve.
Okay.
So we've done some situations where one Glass Advance doesn't like to go on wood. So we had a big wood window package out of France that came in, and we could have done the Glass Advance in the small little divided lights between it all, or instead we use this. It's called a scudo board. It's a product that's often used on the floors, but we put it vertically against all the windows to have impact resistance. So that's a solution we used otherwise. Now, there's no light transfer coming through, so it's pretty dark in that project.
Yeah.
But it gave that durability. So that's not really intended use for this product, but that's another solution we put on the windows for added durability where they didn't want to go the Glass Advanced route.
Is that, so you said that's used for floor protection. Is that breathable?
It is not. What are we thinking concrete?
Well, the reason why I ask, so I'll give you an example of a really crazy method that we used to protect some wood floors that we had. So it was a huge project, and they were all, hand scraped, hand finished and stained wood floors, and they were beautiful, but we still had a lot of masonry work that we needed to complete inside, and it was up high. I mean, these were 20-foot something ceilings that we needed to set up scaffolding and do masonry work. So we had 5 or 7 layers of redundancy on that floor. But the problem was, because the floors was already done, it needed to off gas. It needed to vent. And the protection that we were going to put on there was not, it was vapor closed, right? It didn't breathe. So we ended up doing a heavy craft paper. And then on top of that, we did the basically that drainage mat material that you use on like retaining walls to allow it to ventilate and breathe. And then on top of that, we did 1/2-inch white foam, and then we did the ram board, and then we did masonite, and then plywood on top of that, and all the seams throughout all the layers were taped together so no dust and debris could get down in there. And so that's what we did.
Success?
Huge success.
Great.
Because I don't know how many rocks fell down and put a big hole in the plywood,
Right.
but it didn't go any beyond that.
Right.
It absorbed that impact. And
Wow. That's a great solution. We would do it in 2 layers instead of 7, and that would be top layer, and the bottom layer would be this general purpose mat that is more breathable. So we'd run this east-west and then run this one north-south.
Nice.
And we'd tape the seams here. So we do this also over concrete to avoid any kind of differential cure rate.
there you go.
So that would be a solution there. And this is a 1/4 inch. It's as strong as a 3/4 inch sheet of plywood. You could drive a forklift over this and it's not going to compress.
Wow, interesting.
It's nuts. It only weighs 10 pounds. It's a 4x8 sheet,
Yeah.
and you score it and snap it like sheetrock.
That's cool.
Very, very versatile.
So let's
That's
talk a little cost then. I mean, if we got these products. I mean, obviously, the method that we used, it was pretty expensive to get all that material.
Right.
But that was 5 or 6 layers, and you're saying, well, we could reduce that down to 2.
Yeah.
What's some of the like average or like a cost range for this type of product, like per foot, or like what are we looking at?
So these products are a 4x8 sheet, and they're around $50-$55 a sheet.
Okay.
So 4x8 sheet. These comes in rolls of 3 feet by 123 feet. That's like $300 for a roll.
Okay.
So for what they are, and they're both reusable, which is also unique. Part of the excitement, Lonnie, is are we comparing it to the potential damage, or are we compared it to some paper board that costs nothing, right? And so that it's interesting because that generates a whole other discussion, right? If it's a pure cost discussion, or is it a ROI discussion, and how we're using it, and also the image we're sending and presenting. So that's why we have more than 10 minutes on the podcast.
100%.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting. If we get into a cost discussion, just as anything, this is going to be more than some stuff and less than other stuff. So that's really the discussions really become: what are we protecting, and what's our intent, and how valuable is what is under it?
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
And so that may be a part of the equation.
Yeah.
Right. And how rare is this flooring, hand hewn product? Right. 7 layers on top of hand hewn product. Probably money was not in the discussion. We had to protect that, right? And successfully so. So yeah, it's what's fun about this product is it gets more than dollars and cents. That's always a part of it, but it creates a discussion.
True.
And, a lot of our projects, we created a JPP, a job site protection plan, kind of an a la carte, like the top 10 items that are typically not protected on site.
Yeah.
And so it's like a buffet. Like, I want 2 of those and 1 of those, but I don't need those 4 over there. And so, it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah.
But we can choose the elements based upon what's either most expensive or what's most emotionally connected to the homeowner who selected it, or maybe how far away it came from.
Some reclaimed
Europe.
tile or, whatever the deal is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Expensive countertop.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's get into that protection plan. I mean, what are some of the items on there that you think are, hey, these are the areas that are of most importance that I think we need to protect?
So we started out with glass, and I believe that's the top one.
Yeah,
and
that is for sure the top one.
We've talked through that, and it's not cheap because it's our process of protecting glass. We come out and we clean the glass first. So best case scenario, the windows would be installed, then we'd come out a day or 2 later to leave the least amount of openness to damage, right? So we very swiftly want to get on site and protect it. So we'll be on site, we'll wash the glass, interior, exterior, then we'll inspect the glass. And the reason we wash the glass is not to allow the glass advance to stick. It'll stick to a dusty piece of glass. The reason we wash the glass is when we coat it, we want the builder to know that glass is ace number 1, perfect.
Right.
Because it'd be horrible to cover the glass tomorrow and you unveil it in a year like, oh, shoot.
Yeah. There was a scratch.
There were 7 scratches over there we didn't know about. Right?
Yeah.
So we clean it first, we inspect it, and then if we get the thumbs up, we tape the frames, spray the glass, remove the blue tape while it's still wet, and then 2 to 3 days later, it's dry. Do that outboard, inboard, next window.
Cool.
So that's the process. It's a lengthy process, and it's the insurance process, right?
Right.
So glass would be ace number 1 on the list. The next one we do quite a bit of is this scudo board floor protection, because so many wood floors going in homes, right? And we even partner with a couple of wood flooring guys here in Austin that they put a floor down and they come in behind it with our scudo board, and they get the order beforehand. So the guys lay the floor, take a photo, and then lay the scudo board right on top of it. And so they can walk away knowing our job is perfect and it will remain that way.
That's great.
Because all the trade's going through there. So
that's great.
An extra cost. The challenge there is flooring guy A is doing that in a bid process. Flooring guy B and C is not doing that. And so there's an extra line item in there. So that's why a lot of the theme of this is conversation and relationship, right? It's not just what's the bottom line price. Because flooring guy A is not going to get that bid if he's wanting the lowest price.
Right.
But B and C didn't protect it.
Right.
And then what do you do when a hammer claw drops on it? And you guys know the story.
Oh,
yeah.
So flooring protection would be the second one, and that is with stair protection. So this same scudo board material is made in stair protection. Got the rise and it's got the run.
Interesting.
4 to 8 inches wide. Boom, 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 right up the stairs, and it's rad.
Yeah,
it fits
awesome.
great. You tape the seams where they come together,
Wow.
so you have a full package of protection on the wood floors and wood stairs.
Yeah.
I mean, changing risers out. How many times you guys have done that before turnover? But
Yeah.
it's there, right? So those are some big elements. I can pause there. If any questions on that, we can ask.
No, I mean, I think, we've gone from windows to floors.
Right.
I mean, what else?
So this is top grade floor protection. This next one I talked a bit about earlier. This is the general purpose mat, or GP mat, Scudo calls it. This is like the Ram board upgrade, where what do you hate about Ram board when you throw it down?
Kind of curls up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about when you guys spill a Red Bull on it?
Yeah, as I said, it gets wet.
It absorbs, it wets, and then it kind of pills up, I guess, underneath your feet, and
exactly
makes a mess. Yeah.
So this GP mat, you roll it out, it stays flat, and you spill your Red Bull on it, and it doesn't soak through. Okay. It's antibacterial, it is water resistant, and it's unrippable. Like I've only seen one human being rip this before, and he won himself a $20 bill as well. So. But yeah, the stuff is unrippable. And now you can envision job sites with Ram board down, and it looks good day 1, day 2, and day 3 gets a little rip.
Yeah. And
if no one attends to that day 4, the rip, day 5, and then you get stuff jammed under there, and pretty soon the whole job site has a different tenor. Like, oh, these guys don't care about protection.
100%.
I saw that ripped the last 2 days, and now it's ripped again. I'm gonna put my Red Bull on the new cabinet. Because so that's another element to all this. It creates a culture around a job site for how well you protect it. Our tagline is honor your job site. That's what we really want to do on site, and so that extends beyond this conversation. It extends past materials. It can actually extend through how the trades take care of what's on site, because as a trade enters the site, and if you see a professionally protected site, they're going to potentially react differently when they walk on site and they have one of these builders like, oh, just don't hurt anything. We'll fix it later. So there's a whole myriad of solutions and conversations that this can bring up.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, I would throw somebody out of the house if they left a Red Bull can on our cabinets. I'll tell you what, though.
Yeah, well, the name on your shirt would agree. You're right.
Yeah.
But
man.
I would expect that.
That's a fireable offense right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for good reason.
Yeah.
Or I can sell you some of this stuff. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, exactly.
So this general purpose mat is great for a lot of areas where you see a ram board. In the other side, a ram board you got to put down 3 times in the life of the build. This stuff you put down once. So there's the cost benefit analysis
That's
as well,
huge.
right?
Yeah, I mean, especially with these high end customs, they take multiple years, right? And you're absolutely right. I mean, you're it wears out, and eventually you have to peel it all up, clean the floor again, and lay fresh ram board back down. And nothing wrong with ram board. It's been great, but we usually use ram board in conjunction with something else. So the ram board really isn't taking the beating. It's just a secondary layer. But that product sounds great. I mean, it's one and done, and it'll last. So that sounds awesome.
It's really up and coming floor protection. Go back 15 years. I don't know when ram board began, but there wasn't much of it back there.
Right.
Here we are 15 years later. The estimate is in the U.S., the floor protection market is $1.8 billion.
Wow.
In floor protection. And
Floor
in 10 years,
protection.
$3 billion.
Holy cow.
With a B. Nuts, right?
Holy
That is
moly.
And so, I mean, imagine the level of jobs we have going in. So anyway, there's opportunities there. And maybe the one reason it's so high is because you have to put down a ram board 3 times.
Yeah, you just should.
But yeah, so the protection curve is growing. So I feel like this is a niche that we've all known in the building industry is needed.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been adopted, or there hasn't been a good solution for builders to go to, right?
Yep.
A lot of time job sites protection is save all your Amazon boxes and unfold them and put them on the floor,
right, 100%,
or something kind of Mickey Mouse, but it's better than nothing, right? And so this company, Scudo, another company I work with called Axiom, have dedicated solely to job site protection.
Wow.
And it's really born out of other countries. Scudo is based out of Australia.
Wow.
Primarily. And they're huge in Australia, huge in Europe, and still kind of leading edge in the U.S. market.
Yeah.
So, we in the industry have seen a need for it, and there hasn't really been a great solution. So it's exciting to come to market and to present a product that solves a problem we've all known has been there, but didn't have a great solve for it.
Yeah.
So that's what's
cool.
fun to be able to present these products.
That's super cool.
So another thing that you see a lot on job sites is 1/2 inch or 3/4 pink foam, right? Or blue foam. Which is hugely valuable, especially when you're protecting cabinetry, millwork, or maybe some doors, entryways, something like that. Even corner protection. I mean, do you have anything in your arsenal there that you see as a viable alternative to foam?
It would be back to the question of what are we protecting? Pink foam is very versatile.
Yes.
And so it goes everywhere.
Yeah.
However, what if you had more product specific? So for example, if we were covering the face of a countertop, we would go, I don't have it with me, but there's a mat like this that's brown, but it's sticky on the back. So you could put that on a piece of granite.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And then you'd take this GP mat, tag it in, and you'd face the cover of your cabinet with that, and you tag it into the toe kick. So you don't have the pink board protection against impact, but you have this on top and you have the face of the cabinet secured. So that could be an option instead of the pink board.
Yeah.
You see a pink board, of course, a lot with fashioned around corners. And so this stuff is also as in a corner, 6 inch by 6 inch.
Yeah.
These same product corners. There's also less robust, like cardboard corners, of course.
Yeah.
And even things that look like pool noodles, basically like glorified pool noodles
Yeah,
you can
I've
put
seen
over
those.
like window mullions.
Yeah.
So although fabricating with pink board is an art on
Yeah.
site, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
But there are other product solutions that may be more plug and play with less weights. And then, of course, there's the whole environmental impact of all that pink stuff floating around and all that as well. So,
Sure.
but yeah, there's heaps of solutions based on these two companies because this is all they do.
Yeah.
And they're coming out with new stuff all the time, which is really wild. So that'd be a few pink board alternatives.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Oh, that's good.
So we've covered, windows, windows and doors, floors. We touched a little bit on cabinetry, and wall protection. I think is another one, especially in high traffic areas, like where
Right.
you have tight hallways or or corners, people just coming in and out a lot. Wall protection is another critical one, which I would imagine a Scudo board is great for that as well.
This is a great solution because it's a 4x8 sheet, right? And so you can run it vertically. We recently were in the Republic, downtown Austin, the 41-story building there. Lincoln Properties owns it. They did a tenant improvement on the 19th floor. They're starting Monday, and they called us Wednesday like, we got to protect from the freight elevator to our TI project here. And we got out there, and of course, it was paperboard on the floor. And we're like, that's not going to work. So we brought a ton of this Scudo board in, and we ran it vertically all along. So from the freight elevator all the way to their office was 4x8 sheets running, and then we did a pathway in the floor as well. So it was like clad in this stuff. So any knucklehead coming off the elevator, hitting whatever you want.
Around,
and it's protected. Because that whole project's complete. Their office on the 19th floor was wide open, ready for their TI work. So this works great on the walls. And again, it's reusable, so you can take it on to the next project because it's not going to be damaged. So very versatile.
That seems awesome.
What are some of the differences that you are facing in the commercial world versus the residential world? You mentioned going into a building like that might be a different conversation than stepping onto a job site of a custom home, for example.
So I feel like in the custom home world, you guys plan for what's next. In the commercial world,
we try.
Oh, geez, we need it tomorrow, right?
Totally.
And so that's the biggest thing. But also that means it's very opportunistic. If you walk on a commercial job and they just laid the travertine, man, this is gold.
Yeah.
But if you told them 6 months ago, hey, when you lay that travertine, like, whatever, I don't need you. So a lot of it's just timing in the commercial world. And Scudo does a ton commercially all over the nation.
Cool.
So, but like that feels like the biggest side of it all. And but we love getting involved in commercial projects. We've done a couple downtown with glass coverage. It's been really neat. It's exciting to be a part of that. When I look at downtown skyline, like 6th and Guadalupe and the Republic, like we've been in there working.
Come on.
It makes me feel really proud. Like to help that team honor their job site on downtown Austin. It's really rad.
Well, it just shows the mobility of you guys too, to be able to operate. I mean, those markets just naturally are very different, but hey, we like be able to provide services in both areas. That's awesome.
Yeah, we it's this job is big enough for more players, first of all, but there's a lot out there. And from my understanding, we're kind of the only guys in town doing it, but the goal is to lift the level of expectation on job sites, right? There should be other folks doing this as well. Yeah. Because if we raise the level of expectation of our homes, that means the conceptualized design from the architect is more actually achieved. The build goes smoother. Ultimately, the homeowner's happier. 100%. Less rework. Less damage, and so it makes a lot of sense. So it's just not a real sexy thing to do every day, right? And so until now,
those are some of the best places to be. I mean, just some talk about job security. It's,
there you go.
It's in the non-sexy stuff. Yeah. One of the things that I've experienced a lot on job sites is there are oftentimes things that are happening that are either not being done professionally or they're just not being described to the homeowner. And that's just a loss in value from the builder's perspective, because it's while we're going through all this work to do something like this. And, people have been, been protecting things for a long time, but have someone like you to come in a professional sense and say, no, hey, this is worthy of this is a whole market. This is a industry, and it's going to help not only certain projects, but across the board. It can help all construction projects. I think that's awesome. Yeah.
I like you catching the vision, and you mentioned expectations, and I try to look at it from the homeowner's perspective and managing their expectations. We all do in our professional world, but if we enter our job site from the homeowner's shoes on a Saturday morning with a cup of coffee, bringing their mates to say, hey, look at my amazing house being built. And they walk in the front door. You're not there. No trades are there. We got to see it from their eyes, all the stuff they're proud of. But remember what I spent on that glazing package, how I painstakingly picked out that slab. And if it's just wide open to the elements, absolutely, they're like, I thought these guys cared about what I was doing.
It makes you nervous.
100%.
Right.
Which is why it's a fireable offense to leave cans of soda or coffee cups or something on a countertop or a cabinet or on the wood flooring. Like that's why we take it so seriously, is because it sends that message that I don't care. Right. If you let that slide, what else are you letting slide?
Absolutely.
Right? So it's not just an image thing. It's practical. You definitely, you don't want that stuff in the house, first of all, but But yeah, it sends a message to the client. So, and they pick up on it. They pick up on stuff like that.
It's key. And we've found that even when stuff does get damaged, which inevitably it will, it has bought you a little bit of grace. Like, hey, Lonnie, I know you guys are taking care of it.
Yeah.
Stuff happens. We'll get it solved. But so it sends a
If
message.
you're careless,
Yeah.
then their grace isn't extended very
Exactly.
much. Yeah. No, you're
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Well, but before we move on, I wanted to touch quickly on maybe some exterior items.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of these products that we're talking about, they might be great on the inside, but outside where they're exposed to sun and rain and mud and just machinery and foot traffic, they tend to usually break down a little bit more. So if I give you a scenario, let's say I'm trying to protect, a driveway or a stone pathway.
Mhm.
I think typically people would put down plywood, and that's usually great for a short period of time. But if this is a remodel, for instance, and I've had this happen before, where you put down plywood, and a few months later you peel it up, and it's just mold underneath. It might discolor or leach into the stone and stain it, and then you got another problem on your hands.
Yeah.
Right. So what you thought was protecting the surface ended up causing another problem.
Right.
So let's kind of walk through this scenario a little bit, and how would you approach something like that?
Specifically a driveway that you
Sure.
want to keep
Yeah,
at.
driveway, pathway, whatever.
So
Patio.
yeah. It's interesting because it depends upon the substrate. If it's a poured concrete, we do a lot of poured concrete protection, and it's a product I don't have here called Goldilocks, which
I've
is,
heard of that.
pretty
Okay.
slick. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Cool.
it's a membrane you can put down, and then you put an adhesion over the top of it, and you squeegee it out, and it protects the whole poured
Wow.
concrete, and you can actually build on top of it as well. So you
Interesting.
pour the slab, wait 10 days, and then you even polish it, and then put this Goldilocks down, and then it creates this barrier. The whole darn build, right? And then you're ready to pull it up. There it is.
Really?
So
Wow.
that's been great for like a polished concrete slab, a garage, or a driveway you want to keep in really good condition. So that's a really unique product. So that's something that I would say, if it's concrete, that if it's a cast stone or some other type of stone, this scooter board is versatile for that.
Yeah.
This one has a fabric back that we'd use on a wood floor. So we do it without a fabric back because it just doesn't need to get wet. So it'd be this on both sides. And that's massively durable. You could park your trucks on it. You could put your lifts on it. You could put your scaffolding on it. So in this, if you're dropping a hammer claw from 3 stories up, you're not going to break whatever's under it. So this is remarkably versatile interior and exterior, the Scudo board.
I'm really interested in this stuff now. Yeah. So what about, I want to go back to this scenario. We talked about concrete, but what about something, that's, let's say it is a porous stone, something that's sealed and protected. I mean, is this fluid applied or this membrane that you're putting on it? It's not going to affect the stone in any way. It's not going to discolor it, or.
So that's something we're really cautious about. So Scudo, the manufacturer, has a lot of warnings.
Yeah.
Whenever there's not a good solution. For example, one of these doesn't like to go on limestone. And so there's a lot of cautions on it, because you can imagine you don't want to, the whole point is to protect the substrate. You don't want to mess it up by putting protection on, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So there's a little bit of process. So a lot of the questions I receive, I answer with the question, well, what are we protecting? Because that affects our answer, right?
Yeah.
It's not just what's most durable, it's what's got to be durable and interact appropriately with what we're protecting.
Right. Yeah. And, in preparation for this, conversation that we're having, this morning, it was pouring down rain. And I hate those days on site where it's just muddy and everybody's trudging through the mud, and then it tracks it in the house. And you're trying to keep this house clean. And now your floor protection is sopping wet. There's mud footprints everywhere. Yeah. And it drives me nuts.
Well, I have the product for you.
Well, great. Show me what you got.
This is the all-terrain mat.
Sweet.
Comes in blue, yellow, red, orange, maybe a few other colors. You can even put your logo on it.
Hey.
But 3 foot wide, 90 foot long. And so this is your muddy morning mat. Because you walk through this and it's going to sit on top of the mud. You're not going to sink in it. It's completely washable. Take a pressure washer to it. It'll last 3 years outside in the UV rays.
Wow.
So this we do a lot of, either A, on site always, or B, you roll it out when the homeowner comes around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Human nature is, if there's a mat, you're going to walk on it.
Yeah.
Because there's no mat, you're everywhere.
You're right.
But if you put one of these puppies down, folks naturally walk on it.
Right.
So
That's
that's been great. Also on roofs, flat roofs with membranes, you drop it into screw and you step on it, you pierce your membrane, put one of those puppies down and you're fine, you know? So I think, Lonnie, that your muddy morning solution is they call it the all-terrain mat, AT mat.
That's
Cool.
great.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, in your mind, what is, in your opinion, what are some non-negotiables? Like when you're walking the job, in your experience, what would you say? Like I would really highly recommend this, and this.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. And there's a couple ways I think we could do the math. One's a math way, like what are the 5 most expensive elements?
Yeah.
And start there.
Mm-hmm.
The other is a more emotional way. Like what is our homeowner most jazzed about?
Right.
Right? Like some people don't give a rip about windows and doors, but it's the countertops.
Sure.
They picked out and it went on a boat from Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's number one.
Yeah.
It may not be financially the most expensive line item, but it
Right.
could be emotionally the most expensive. So I feel like, a lot of it comes back to discussion and say, hey, what makes sense? And back to the a la carte menu,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna
That's
be
great.
X for this and Y for that and Z for that, and let the homeowner choose possibly, because this brings up an interesting point because, and we talked about this a bit in our pre-chat, is like some homeowners may say, well, you guys should cover it anyway, right? Or the trades should cover their product anyway.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I think that's not wrong. And I think about the iPhone that I have in my pocket, and maybe you guys too. We all get an iPhone and there's no case on it.
Mm-hmm.
iPhone will sell you an Apple case, but it's a separate box for a huge price, right? And
Right.
so if we think about our phones that we carry every day, when I get a new phone, the 3 days between the new phone and when I finally find a case, I am never more aware of that phone in my
Right.
hand.
Right.
Like, oh, this $1,000 piece of glass, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as I put the case on it, I'm like, oh, no sweat, right?
Toss it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah. So if we look at our job sites like our first 3 days with an iPhone,
Mm-hmm.
because that's probably the way our homeowners are looking at it, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
they see it all. Like, that's my iPhone on the wall. That's
Mhm.
and everyone's mucking with it and putting tool bags on it and all that.
Yeah.
So I think when we get the iPhone perspective from our homeowners, or ask them, like, what do you think? I mean, look at all this stuff, and here's our budget. We can't do it all.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of my answers are relational and communication based, like, because one size doesn't fit all. We know that, right? And
Yeah.
so if we can provide solutions for each element and say, okay, this one's more important to me than that one, right?
Yeah.
This iPhone case is more important,
Yeah.
but hey, my Apple Watch, who cares? about
Scratch
that?
over
Scratch
there
that
I
up.
can live with, but over here it's
Yeah.
going to drive me crazy every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a long answer to the non-negotiables. It's in the high eye of the beholder.
That's
I
great.
think the benefit is now there is a solution for
Mhm.
pretty much each element, rather than the cross your fingers
Yeah.
method or
Yeah.
just some bush league method of just unrolling boxes, right?
Yeah.
I
That's
think,
true.
I think this is a really key component of, on the builder side as well. It comes down to the relational trust that you have, and when you can present the options to them. I mean, at the end of the day, builder it's a service industry. You're serving the client, and so that same attitude, when that can come through, with you guys too, I think that homeowners can really key in on that and make
Yeah.
decisions a lot more effectively.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And often homeowners' expectation is hard to manage,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
They're like, I'm paying this. This is my vision.
Yeah.
And I think about it another way. So a new car. Now, I haven't gotten I drive a 99 Volkswagen van. So it's,
I saw
sorry,
that thing. It's
89
awesome.
van.
It's a great looking van.
Yeah, so it's not new. It's got
Yeah.
309,000 miles on it.
Nice.
But the new car analogy is this. When you do get a new car,
Hmm.
you get in there and you have like that film on like the shifting knob
Mhm.
and on your armrest and all that
Mhm.
stuff. And you peel, I got a new car, you peel it off. Brand new car, right?
Yep.
You look at the odometer, there's 497 miles on. Like some knucklehead drove this car for 497 miles.
Mhm.
Not you, but it's your new car. But the
Mhm.
car companies make it feel new because there's some protection on it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it leaves it unscratched. So I think we take that to home building. And when our homeowners walk in, the $20 million home that took 3 years to build, they want to feel like they're the first person to turn that knob on the entry door,
Yeah.
Mhm.
the first person to walk up the stairs and throw out and go on the balcony.
Mhm.
They know, and we know they're not. There's been
Right.
heaps of trades, but
Yeah.
what if our customers had that feel when they walked in? Like,
Yeah.
I'm the first one in here. This is a new car,
Yeah.
peel off, right? And so
Yeah.
if our industry continues to evolve with that in mind, right, it's going to take a few extra bucks, but in the end, we're going to have a better product, happier homeowner,
Mhm.
and we will create this image, create this
Yeah.
feeling of honoring our job site throughout the
Yeah.
project that brings this result.
Yeah.
Or the homeowner feels that way.
It's interesting. It's kind of like we're making the present, and you're saying you really need to wrap it. They want to be able to unwrap the present.
Yeah.
And I think I really like what you're saying there about, okay, how does this help the experience for the homeowner?
Yeah.
And I had never, with protection, I had never thought about it that way. It's a good.
Because it is true. I mean, you get
point.
to the end of the job and it's time to clean up. And so you really are, in a way, unwrapping a present. It's been protected and everything's been covered for months. And now you get to reveal it all. You get to pull everything off, clean it. And that's the big reveal that the clients like to see. And it is like unwrapping a gift. That's a good analogy. But to wrap up, I wanted to real quick talk about, what are some common mistakes that you see with protections?
So answer number 1 would be no protection. That was a gimme, right? So answer number 2 would be tapes. I don't trust tapes.
I don't trust them either.
And they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think a lot of the tapes, they're made up in like Milwaukee or Canada, like great for UV. And like, you guys don't get it in Central Texas. So I think mistake number 2 is too much tape, and you don't know until it's too late.
Yeah.
The residue you got to get off. So I think, again, the idea is right. I need to protect something, but it can't be blue or green tape, or it can't be whatever. I'm nervous about it, right?
We're very specific about the tapes that we use. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to research. You got to understand the tensile strength of it and what you're putting it on and why you're putting it on and how long it's on.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a dedicated person to go take it off in X amount of days and put it back on, great. Again, the intent is right. So what's fun about these products is the intent is married with the right solution rather than just tapes everywhere. So I think that's a big mistake. And I alluded to it earlier, but the ripped RAM board just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And it's I can picture job sites I've been on. I walk by and I'm like, it just sends such a message to crew A to crew B. It's just wild. So, I think those are some of the big ones that we run into. And I guess maybe primary that goes with not doing anything is just not having the discussion, because we need to manage expectation with our homeowners. Like, your home is going to be filled with dozens of trades, multiple at a time, right? And it's it's nature that things are going to happen. So it's not if it happens, it's when damage happens. And we can mitigate it with these solutions. That's why our job site protection budget is what it is. Yeah. And with the data you guys have, you could look at your last few jobs and say, hey, we've typically on average spend this much on window repair, this much on floor repair. So to mitigate that, our job site protection budget and these 3 elements are based upon prior actual data, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's the way we can inform our homeowners that there is a cost associated with the protection, which offsetting the cost, potentially greater cost in repair.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed, and this kind of goes to your cell phone case analogy, is this, and I'm not arguing for, not having a redundant set of protections everywhere, but I think having protections gives a false sense of security, Like, once something's protected, like your phone, right? It's like, oh, well, it can toss it anywhere. It's totally fine. It's going to be okay. And I've noticed this, having everything wrapped up and protected almost sends the same message to trades, that they actually handle things a little rougher. Or they're not as careful because, well, it's protected. It's fine. I don't know if that's been y'all's experience, but I've noticed that a ton, that, it's like they see something's protected. They think, I'm fine. I can, slam stuff around and, set my ladder up over here and it's fine, But
there's, in the projects I've been a part of, it really comes down to timing.
Yeah.
And when there's a really kind of specific zone at the end of a project where you want to protect up to, and then you want to take off all the protection.
Yeah.
And because you want to send a sign to the sub, hey, we're done here. Hurry up with your work.
That's true.
Get out.
It sends the message to the client too.
Yeah, right. And you're kind of shifting the mentality of everyone working on site from we're protecting things so you guys can focus on getting work done, to flipping.
Yeah.
You're getting work done so that like these finished products,
Mhm.
can be, you're now working in a clean zone,
Yeah,
basically.
that's true. Yeah.
You're not whipping out the grinder and,
Yep.
doing.
Yep. Tools go outside.
Yeah.
Everything outside now.
Right.
Yeah. Get all the material out.
Smart.
Right.
It's got to be clean.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I don't. You got anything else to add, man?
That was great.
Yeah, I think so too, Dan. This has been a really eye-opening and productive conversation. I think we touched on a lot of really important things and things that builders struggle with every single day. So hopefully, if somebody listening, that they can check out some of these products. We'll put a link in the description on the podcast so that you can go and view some of these products, as well as a link to you guys. So if you're interested, reach out to Dan and they'll take care of you. But Dan, I appreciate your time. Thanks
Lonnie,
for coming
thank
on.
you. Michael, enjoyed it.
It was awesome.
Good chat. I loved
Yeah,
it.
till
Thanks,
next
you guys.
till
Yeah,
next time.
thanks.